Hello YouTube, Simon here, and welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm going to be answering the question, well, what exactly is haptic feedback anyway? That might seem like a strange question for me to be answering on my channel, but if you've been paying attention to gaming news today, you'll no doubt be aware by this point that Sony have gone ahead and announced a release window for the PlayStation 5, and that's going to be holiday 2020. But along with that release date, they also announced a few other tidbits, including some of the new technologies that are going to be included with the hardware, and in particular, they announced that their new controller is going to be making use of haptic feedback technology, and they said this is going to differentiate it from the previous generations of Dualshock controllers. So is this just a marketing ploy to make people go, ooh, new technology, me need in my life, or is there actually something meaningful behind it? Well, perhaps it's going to be a little bit of both. You see, the thing is, haptic feedback, well, it isn't really anything new. It's just the name that's used to describe pretty much any technology that uses some kind of rumble effect. I mean, heck, even an arcade game released in 1976 by Sega called Motocross was advertised as having haptic technology. And the phrase has even been used even before that to describe other forms of non-gaming related hardware, so haptic feedback technology is certainly nothing new. However, of course, I strongly suspect what we're going to be getting with the PlayStation 5 controller is going to be a little bit more advanced than what was brought out in 1976 for the aforementioned Motocross. So when Sony claimed that the haptic feedback technology of the PlayStation 5 controller is going to be an improvement over the rumble technology of the current Dualshock generation, what they really mean to say is that the current Dualshock generation is also haptic feedback, and simply that the PlayStation 5 version of it is going to be superior. And by golly, I do expect it to be superior. One of the current examples that we have right now for comparison is if you compare, for example, the rumble features of, say, the PlayStation 4 controller or Xbox controllers to the Joy-Cons of the Nintendo Switch. And Nintendo have carefully marketed their rumble, even though it is still haptic technology, of course, the same as all the other rumbles. It is a more superior form of that technology, and they've called it the HD rumble effect. And in my opinion, you can certainly notice the difference. The Nintendo Joy-Cons and even the Switch Pro controller to some degree have a lot more subtlety in how their rumbles can be used. And that difference ultimately comes down to the superiority of the motors that have been used in the Joy-Cons over and above the motors that have been used in those other controllers. For example, with the haptic technology that's currently employed by the Dualshock controllers at the moment, this is basically limited to the motors being able to speed up or slow down depending on the intensity of the rumble required, and on top of that there tends to be a little bit of lag since it actually takes a bit of time for the rumble to warm up and slow down again once the motors kick into action. Whereas on the other hand, the HD rumble, as it's been marketed for the Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons, has much more nuance to it, supposedly providing genuine, recognisable feelings that can correlate to real-world applications. So for example, if you have marbles rolling around on the screen, you should genuinely feel marbles rolling around in your hands, that type of thing. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the kind of technology that's going to be included in the next generation of console controllers, in particular for the PS5. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to really notice this difference. As a matter of fact, if you have a look around the various Reddit threads, a lot of people say that the HD rumble technology of Nintendo Switch is pretty much overrated and that they can't really notice a difference, although I would say that they are pretty much in the minority. Many people would suggest that actually it does make a big difference. So in conclusion, the fact that Sony are claiming their new controllers are going to be taking on haptic feedback is really just marketing spiel, because heck, even their current controllers use haptic technology. What they're really saying is that it's going to be using an improved form of this technology. Anyway folks, for those of you that read that Sony blog article pertaining to the PlayStation 5 and its mention of the haptic feedback technology, hopefully this video has clarified that it's not a new technology, it's just hopefully going to be an improvement on the current form of it. Anyway folks, thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. If you liked it, leave a like, and I'll see you next time for more, well, whatever comes next, I suppose. Take care.